Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and this is Things I Learned with Miracle's Naga Siren. So the first thing I want to mention, that I'm not sure if it's intuitive for most people playing matchups against Naga mid, is about Miracle going for the first point in mirror image rather than Riptide. Actually, he maxes it before Riptide, the skill that I feel lots of Nagas maxes first. So there are multiple reasons for him maxing it first. Despite the visual effect of Psyblades proccing on illusions, you can't quote-unquote cleave out of Psyblades with illusions, meaning that they are very annoying against TA in the laning phase, especially if they are higher level and take multiple hits to be brought down. This means that TA will always lose her defensive refractions, which is good. Another benefit of maxing mirror image first is that your 3 illusions equal 1.2 times your damage, meaning that you more than double your DPS if you micro them correctly. They also help you take less damage while you jungle if you use them properly. All of this for way less mana than Riptide. Also, when they are higher level, you can send them to medium camps and farm them with the help of Riptide without them melting to the jungle creeps. So yeah, mirror image scales amazingly well, and I'm not sure if there's ever a time you want to max Riptide before it. Maybe if you're going for support Naga. I also really like how he trades against TA at level 1. Most people think of Naga as this really squishy and useless hero in the early levels, but she has 7 armor, PMS, and 320 move speed. She can trade easily against no refraction TA. Also, when Miracle closes the gap against TA, she can't use Miracle's creeps as a means to damage him so easily, meaning that the trade is more favorable towards Miracle. One amazing clip I have to show is this Shadow Demon gank when Miracle is level 2. So as most of you know, you can dispel slows with mirror image and dodge some stuff, but even more importantly, you can bait your enemy. When they go on him, Miracle could cast mirror image right after disruption for instance and maybe avoid some of the damage. But since he has enough HP, Naga prefers to bait TA closer to his tower and only casts mirror image when she is in tower range. Not only TA starts taking damage as soon as Miracle casts it, but with Riptide that damage is increased even further. I feel like he could get that kill if he had time to attack with his illusions before casting Riptide, so TA would take the damage from the skill, but he doesn't manage to do it. One important aspect you can see in pretty much every tier 1 mid player is the ability to save his cooldowns, items, whatever it is, to turn aggression against their opponents. This is something that takes a lot of time and malice to learn, but just shows how even when faced against ganks in your lane, you have the power to turn things around even with heroes like Naga Siren. Another point I want to mention is how Miracle avoids spending mana to get less hits under his tower. This is a common mistake that I oftentimes forget about in my games. So the thing is, TA is not here contesting him, but she will be in the next wave. If he's out of mana, he will probably get his range creep denied since he doesn't have enough damage against refraction. Also, he can use Riptide on her, and hopefully if she is without defensive refractions, he will increase the value he gets out of his mana. At the 5-minute mark, he starts using his stronger mirror images to farm and stack the medium camp as he also stacks another one. And you might be wondering, well, he went for the shrine at the 3-minute mark, why didn't he stack that camp as well? The lane was heavily pushed against Radiant's tower. The main point about doing this rotation is having boots. With that extra burst of move speed, Naga wastes less time doing it. Also, at the 3-minute mark, his illusions are weaker and he was low on HP, so there's the chance they just die to the creeps before they stack. Another great point about doing this at the 5-minute mark is that now it's nighttime and TA is close to getting level 6, meaning that the mid lane is way riskier for Miracle. The fact that TA also has more points in refraction makes less hitting in general harder for him, so he can probably farm the same amount of gold here while also being safer. One common mistake of low level players that attempt Naga is that they insist on trying to rush Radiance with stuff like Naked Boots and Quelling Blade for the entire game. This usually means that they are making tons of trips towards the fountain, and more often than not, the amount of gold you're saving on items like Bottle and Iron Talon hinder your progression in the game more than you think. Another key aspect of playing Naga mid is bottle crowing. Naga doesn't have a lot of mana, and one instance of mirror image and Riptide pretty much uses half of Naga Siren's mana pool, and because of that, pay attention how Miracle always uses the skill when both his illusions and himself can get value out of the skill. As soon as his bottle arrives, he already uses all of its charges and bottle crows again. This is just how the hero works, and seriously, if you have a Naga on your team, respect her doing that. You can't expect a Naga Siren to be able to get a fast Radiance if you keep taking the courier away from her because you need your Naked Boots and buys it from the fountain instead of your side shop. Miracle's movements are simple yet effective. He keeps zigzagging from one side of the jungle to his lane when the lane pushes, to another side of the jungle and repeat. As he does that, he bottle crows and that's pretty much it. Another point to pay attention to is how he is more preoccupied in pushing his lane than getting less hits. He focuses on taking the range creep very fast, but doesn't really make so much effort to get less hits, especially because TA is level 6. What he wants is time to farm the jungle creeps without getting punished too hard by TA pushing his tier 1 tower. If you never go back to defend or shove the lane back, you will lose map control faster than you will farm your radiance. I'm also a big fan of the little efficiency of leaving the small creeps to the illusions as he leaves. And that's pretty much it. He focuses on getting stacks when possible, but always goes back to his tower to defend. One thing to commend Miracle for doing is him helping Rubik in getting this kill. When playing Naga, it's very easy to lose the grasp of the game and just tunnel vision in farming, but when he goes for this kill, he is fairly sure they can get it. He can see TA going for the bottom room, Luna is visible, and Jakiro is taking the tower. Not only this kill gives him gold, but it creates pressure against Radiant, and also delays Sand King Blink Dagger. One thing I really like about Miracle this game is how he uses Song at this stage of the game. Even though the cooldown is huge, the team morale is way bigger. Radiant's going for a push, and that extra incentive for his teammates is what separates low MMR players from Miracle. Memes aside, I like that he sends his illusions to annoy the enemies in that area and even uses Riptide to farm and harass them at the same time. Another cool thing to pay attention to is that now that Song is on cooldown, he prefers to farm the jungle while he sends his illusions to the lane. Look how he right clicks the jungle camp and then micros the illusion to get less hits. 3 illusions deal pretty much the damage the main hero deals with one attack, so it's fairly easy to get them. Miracle makes one move here that most people would criticize. This notion comes from the era before SD and Luna, where most pushing lineups weren't that fast in pushing. The thing is, not only Radiant has Luna and SD, but they also have Desolator TA. So yes, Miracle could finish his Radiance faster if he split pushed the tier 1 mid tower for instance, but they would most definitely lose Rex. I feel like he was also trying to set up a Song of the Siren into Black Hole combo. Even though they don't pull it off, his presence there dissuades Radiant from going so aggressive since he has Song. Another positive aspect of him going there is that Juggernaut was farming as well. The 3 heroes from their team wouldn't be able to deal with that amount of push. He sells Iron Talent to complete Radiance, but I feel like he commits a fairly big mistake here. He casts Mirror Image before going to the base to get the item, which really delays the power spike the item brings. When Enigma and Juggernaut get caught, he's forced to ult, and I really feel like Enigma lost his opportunity there. It's nighttime, so if he casts Black Hole from the high ground, as soon as Song was committed, even Jakiro wouldn't be able to cancel the ult since Ice Path is on cooldown. Even then, they make the best of a terrible situation, at least they time Arrow into Song. In my opinion, there was even the chance that they could hit Luna with Arrow instead, but he probably didn't want to risk it, and they get a fairly good high ground defense. As they chase, I really like how he positions himself, all of his illusions in front. Just a few seconds later, we can see Miracle using a fairly common technique to micro Naga illusions. It's called Shift Deselect method, and I'm going to borrow part of a tutorial to explain it better for you guys. The name of the YouTube channel is Brand Dota, but I will leave a link in the description for it if you're interested in watching the entire video. Anyways, after he casts Mirror Image close to the shrine, pay attention how he stops for a little bit, and then all of his illusions are smoothly going to all directions without him moving his camera.
So first, what most people do, for example, is they'll have their Naga illusions and they want to go for a 3-lane pressure when they're around the mid lane with their main hero, or a 3-lane cut, is they will take all their illusions, click down mid, and then manually select the illusion models to split up and send to the other lanes. And this is definitely okay. You can become really fast with this, but it's never going to be as fast as using Shift Deselect method to split them up around the map. And what I mean by using the Shift Deselect method is simply taking all of my units, for example, and if I want to do the same thing, I can click down mid, and then I can hold down Shift and then click on one of the hero portraits like I just did, which will deselect one Naga, and that Naga will have the original command, and it will continue with its movement, but I have these 2 illusions that are by themselves once I hold down Shift. So what I can do is further use Shift to deselect these illusions. So the illusions are going to expire. I'm going to show again. I'm going to move down mid, hold down Shift to deselect one, click down bot, and then deselect again, and send one top. And it's important to note that when we hold down Shift to deselect a Naga, that we release Shift before issuing the next command. Otherwise we'll be issuing a bunch of command queues, which will mess everything up.
As he keeps going bottom to farm, I really like how he micros the illusions to try to get the kills. He almost takes Sand King down. Again, look how the illusions take very different paths almost instantly, and then later, if he wants, he can micro them to do specific things, but the cool part about this shift deselect method is that he doesn't waste the illusion duration. If he casts mirror image, then clicks to move his hero to a different path, while then selecting each illusion one by one, he will waste time and maybe that illusion won't be able to kill the jungle creep he sends it to, and in the long run he's not being efficient with his illusions, and that can hurt your DPM. And in extreme situations it can even kill you, because you will always be preoccupied microing them. Another point to watch out for is how most of the time he's sending 2 of his illusions towards the lane instead of the jungle. A big mistake of lower level Naga players is trying to farm the entire jungle with illusions. While that can be good, especially if you have map control, this is not true this game. The Radiant team still has 2 tier 1s up. The greatest strength of Naga Siren is not farming, it's pressuring lanes in a way that the enemy can never push a lane without the feeling in their guts that Naga will take down a lane while also TPing back, using Song and winning the fight. Miracle won't be able to accomplish that by sending his illusions to the jungle now. His team needs way more map control and pressure in other lanes, so that SD and Luna don't feel comfortable pushing top yet. Also, after 7-0-0, it's way more common to find empty jungle camps since they take more time to respawn, meaning that if you send all your illusions to the jungle, you risk completely wasting that 30-second time frame of both farm and map pressure. When farming the lanes with your Radiance illusions is not enough, you need to cut waves to increase the chances that the enemy push is wasting their resources. Look at this play from Miracle. As soon as he spots TA and Shadow Demon going towards that part of their map, he already understands that Radiant wants to go high ground. So pay attention to what he does here. TA and Luna were probably farming the jungle to take farm away from Miracle, but that in itself helps Miracle way more than they think. He's able to easily send an illusion towards the next creep wave and no one is there to contest it. That already increases the time that Radiant has to be there by 30 seconds. While in the comfort and safety of his base, Miracle spams illusions, and I love how he sends them one at a time. The damage from Radiance is an aura, so you lose a lot of damage if you send all of your illusions at once, especially when the enemy team has a decent amount of AoE damage to kill them very fast. As Radiant backs a little bit, pay attention on that illusion that again he manages to sneak through the enemy team, cutting another wave. Radiant ends up giving up on the push, and with the move speed from Yasha, he's able to use Net on Luna, guaranteeing the kill. One thing I want to point out here that could be bugging you is the fact he went Manta instead of Octarine core. I mean, they are behind in the game, but they are not in the worst situation possible, right? Not exactly. There are a good multitude of reasons for him to go Manta instead of Octarine this game. The first one is, when you don't have your outer towers anymore, most of the time you will be casting your illusions from a defensive position, meaning that they need to walk more to reach jungle camps and lane creeps. So if you go Octarine core first in a game like this, you're going to have a harder time reaching that farm, meaning that you will lose part of the efficiency of the item. Also, Manta is relatively cheaper than Octarine, meaning that you can get the power spike of the item faster. That can still feel like not enough of an answer, especially because Manta doesn't even help him purging anything this game. But you need to think that not only Manta is cheaper, but as soon as you get Yasha, you already see an increase in pushing power, while with Octarine, you only get the benefit of cooldown reduction after spending a huge amount of gold. Maybe Miracle won't have the time to farm the item. In the end, what ends up winning them the game, at least in my opinion, besides those waves he cut in the last push, is him fighting with his team instead of focusing in farming all the time. He's against Sand King, SD, TA, those heroes have incredible peak of power, vision from TA traps, and he pretty much has no vision past his base. So while it sounds weird, he is safer in fights than just wandering around the map and jungle alone. That combined with him being forced to get the mana talent instead of more HP, and him going Manta instead of Octarine core, makes him very squishy this game. When he sees Jugger going for TA, he leaves the jungle immediately, and since Radiant decided to take a fight in their shrine, they power through them. Another key aspect I want to point out is how he uses Manta after finishing it. Most players just use Mirror Image and Manta at the same time, and if you pay attention to your illusions, you will see that most likely you're not going to find 6 different groups of creeps to farm at the same time. So what he does is, he casts Mirror Image, farms with them, and only when that illusion close to him is about to die, he uses Manta. That guarantees more uptime with his illusions and efficiency overall. Even though Miracle is growing as a hero, Radiant keeps pushing their advantage. SD and Luna is a relentless combination at this stage of the game and onwards. Pay attention how Miracle plays plays this high ground defense. He sends illusions taking care to not send all of them at once, and when Shadow Demon commits the ult on Juggernaut, all the heroes from Radiant end up gathering that area. And that was almost the perfect song for a black hole combo. Turns out Shadow Demon was closer to that area than they initially thought, but even though this might seem terrible for Radiant, right? They traded Black Hole for a 10-second cooldown skill. Pay attention what happens. Since Shadow Demon already committed ult before, and Disruption was used on Enigma instead of Luna, they have way less damage than normal. The fact that the 5 heroes are gathering that fight with Dire's creep wave makes Eclipse completely negligible, TA suffers a lot from the damage ticks from Radiance, and Dire wins the fight. Another key aspect of this that could fall under the radar was the arrow that Mirana got on Sand King during Black Hole. This made him unable to use ult in that fight, and the fact that he blinks on top of the stolen ice path doesn't really help as well. Nice fight, crispy play, and awesome aggressive use of Naga song. Most Naga players in pubs never try to abuse the power behind it and only use the skill to disengage and split push. While that's a completely okay use of the skill, when you have level 3 of the skill, try to explore how your team synergizes with the skill. Believe it or not, this fight pretty much seals the deal for Dire. The respawn timers at this stage of the game are already fairly big, allowing Miracle's team to take complete control of the map. Radiant goes for a very desperate push in my opinion. They tried to abuse the downtime of Black Hole, but it was not enough. Well, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please guys, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see the extended version of this video, please check the link in the description. And I can't overstate how this video would never be possible without the huge help from the Pugna guys, so please show them some love. Pugna is a platform where you can learn from people like Chessie, Fogged, Slasher, Monib, and get better at the game. They have now great content on 7.0.0, and if you want to raise your MMR, it's a great time. Just figure out the patch faster than others and get those easy wins. So banning Lone Druid is good, especially if they don't like playing against it. Secret bans are Magnus and Weaver. Well, one of the other ways to deal with Luna is Terrorblade. His superior attack range is very strong against her, and you shouldn't underestimate Reflection against a farm Luna. That combined with Secret having first pick and denying the Shadow Demon Luna combo allows Secret to have a very strong combination against Luna overall. Well, I'm praising Terrorblade and Shadow Demon here only to talk about their Magnus ban. Dandy is known for picking a hero, and Empower is very strong against Shadow Demon and Terrorblade because of the illusions. At the same time,